Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com as we go inside the zone with Justin Kinney of the News Sentinel again. Week 1 in the rear view. We're going to talk about the things that we learned, but overall, your first impression of the 2014 season.
It's always things you expected don't happen and things you don't expect do happen in Week 1. So I think we saw some teams that impressed, some that didn't, but the important thing is not to take Week 1 out and kind of throw it up throughout the season and make it an overall impression. It's 1 week, and let's see how some teams bounce back Week 2.
All right, things we learned from Week 1. What's your number one thing that you learned in Week 1?
Homestead offense is good, very good. Good to the fact, I know I mentioned we don't want to do any broad strokes here, but can anybody in the NHC slow Homestead's offense down? I mean, that's an important thing. Enough where you're going to be able to compete with them on the field. I mean, Logan Orsby just, breaking passing records, 421 yards is a school record, 6 touchdowns is a school record. Ben Scorana goes for 208 receiving yards as a school record. I know Huntington North isn't exactly a defensive powerhouse, but at the same time, they were just doing whatever they wanted when they wanted on Friday night, and that has to scare NHC teams.
Yeah, and second thing that you learned?
Second thing, Bishop Luers is back, Despite the loss, they come 4 minutes away from winning and beating a top 5A school. They couldn't execute down the stretch. Special teams, offensively, couldn't pick up first downs late, and then defense just had some breakdowns with David Turner. I think for 3 quarters and 3 3/4 quarters, Bishop Luers competed with the top 5 team in 5A. So, I think they're going to get a win this week against Northrop and kind of get that win in the bank that they've been looking for so long regular season, and they'll get it this week.
I know Kyle Lindsey, they had some special teams problems. I know Coach Lindsey, talking to him preseason, they had some issues at the beginning of last season. They had some issues at the end of last season with that. Not happy to have that rear its ugly head, I guess you would say, in this week, but I'm sure they'll get it all straightened out over on Calhoun Street. Third thing that you learned in this week?
I think a lot of people expecting Concordia to miss John Poor, David Morris, and guys like that, and they come out beat Northside, the defending SAC champions, but 31-21 with some guys that we're kind of like Daniel Sparks, stuff like, and guys like that. So Concordia is not going to drop as much as a lot of people thought. They won 9 games a year ago. I don't know if they win 9 games this year, but they definitely got off to a good start knocking off Northside in Week 1.
See, that was kind of one of the 3 things that I had identified. I think the Concordia-Northside game brought about more questions than answers.
Yeah,
normally,
for sure.
That's not how it is. Is Northside going to drop off that much? Is it just a bad game? Defensively, that's been their calling card under Ryan Hall. And also, where's Concordia going to be in the SAC race? I walk away from most Week 1 games saying, okay, I kind of know who this is. I kind of know what this is. More questions than answers.
Yeah, for sure.
I think
with both of those teams, when you have young teams, if you have a good offensive and defensive line, okay, we can deal with everything else. We just have to have that staple, that solid line. Concordia right now has it, offensive and defensive. Northside is kind of, we're not sure where we're at offensive and defensive line. Northside has the playmakers, they have the linebackers, they have guys in the secondary, but if you don't have that offensive and defensive fronts, then you're going to struggle. I think right now Concordia, after Week 1, has that, and they have the young guys around them, but they have a better core of offensive and defensive fronts right now.
And the thing that impressed me, I was only there for the first half of the game, but we thought Concordia would really struggle on offense. Their first drive, they converted 3 fourth downs, and they threw an interception in the end zone to end that drive. But at the beginning of the season, when you don't have continuity on offense, that seems to be the problem. They ran the football down Northside's field. They matriculated the ball down the field beautifully, even though they didn't score. So that's something to watch. My second thing, Snyder has 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It turns out that it isn't just the Colton Painter show, although he threw for 202 yards in the first half. Isaac Stiebling.
Yeah.
Is a name we're going to have to know throughout the rest of the season.
For sure. He displayed his best Tim Tebow impression, I thought, Friday night. Running that read option, being able to get to the outside a little bit speedier, quicker to the outside than Colton Painter, can run that a little bit better. And as if defenses didn't have enough to prepare for with Snyder, all of a sudden you're worried when Isaac Stiebling comes in there for Colton Painter and is able to really stretch the hashes a little bit, get to the outside, and he can throw the ball as well. And everybody wants to talk about Isaac Stiebling, and Colton Painter did very well too, as you mentioned, throwing over 200 yards as well. So that's 2 legitimate quarterbacks. I don't think it's much a quarterback battle as it is 2 guys that can come in and give you good snaps for Snyder.
And one of the things I like about what Kurt Dippin has done in years past is he doesn't feel uncomfortable with having two quarterbacks that can play. Whether it's using like Andre Gomez-Espino back there or, in the Brandon Phelps era, they use multiple guys at quarterback according to the situation, their skill position. Janory Smith, before they turned him into a running back, they're not afraid to have two quarterbacks. A lot of people say you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. Snyder's comfortable with that.
Right, yeah, and both of them can fit different skill sets when you need it. I think Colton Painter, if they're down 14 late and need to go the full length of the field, maybe they throw Colton in there to throw it vertically. But Isaac, it was obvious that he was effective because Luers was really stuffing that run up front. I thought Elijah Jett and Damon Williams did a good job on the defensive front to really stifle the run between the tackles. What Stiebeling gave you is a guy who could run out of the pocket, still look downfield and throw, but also get to the edge and do some significant run game as well.
My third takeaway from week one is that Norwell came to play in 2014. First time since 2009 they opened the season with a win. Normally they're playing Leo, and normally those are blowout games.
Right.
Normally the first 5 weeks for Norwell
Right.
in the last couple of years have been pretty tough, and they get on a roll perhaps later. But they came to play from week one. It was offense. It was defense. Special teams comes up with a PAT block, although they did give up a kickoff return for a touchdown. I'm sure Jeff Miller's looking at the tape on that this week.
Yeah.
Norwell, impressive win in week one.
Yeah, for sure. You look at it, it's a win in the bank for Norwell. Like last year, they start off 5 straight losses, and then they have to recover from that. Now they start 1-0, and they go, okay, we're going to start building on this from here. The concerns with Norwell is Reggie Hayes Jr., RH2, minor concussion, may not play.
You've got to have
Friday
inside
night.
info on that.
Yeah, I know what Reggie has told
HIPAA
me.
loss.
And he is, yeah, and it's minor concussion, so he may be out Friday. Curtis Blackwell, the sophomore lineman, didn't play Friday, a finger issue. Uncertain on where they go. And then Andrew Oakes, the dominant offensive lineman as well, dislocated shoulder. Who knows how long is he out? So big win for Norwell, but maybe a costly win long term.
Yeah, and Oakes may be one of the best 2-3 linemen in the NHC, maybe the best. He's really good.
For sure.
All right.